You know, and a lot of people don't realize that when you started at Sac State, you were more interested in working behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, there's Larry Shoemate, who taught there, was this fabulous teacher. He's taught the stagecraft class. And he made it so understandable, this concept of how to build the show and run it from backstage. It actually was like, learning the magician's tricks. It was like, well, here's how we do this, and here's how we make it look at. And I just became fascinated with that. And it was something that you could do without having to audition. You could run a show or stage manage a show or work on the lighting or something like that. And it was actually a trade that I learned at Sac State. And I thought that worst comes to worst, that's something you can actually pursue and make a living at, because you could go to Vegas or the theme parks and stuff like that. They're always looking for people to build and run shows. But it was also at Sac State too that I discovered how much even more fun it is to be on stage in the plays as well.
Okay. Well, you mentioned auditions. Like when you went out back east to New York, when you first started doing auditions, what kinds of roles did you almost get?
None. I didn't even come close to anything. When I was the first auditions you're trying to get, well, I was able to work in classical theater in Ohio. So there was the kind of almost like a classical repertory Shakespeare circuit that usually works in the summertime. And you try to get on at places like that, Stratford, Connecticut, or Ontario, or the Ashland Shakespeare Festival, and I just could never get arrested. Never even came close. So you end up really auditioning for non-paying showcases or off-Broadway stuff that was in New York.
How frustrating at the time for you? Were you ever really discouraged?
Well, it's not an easy time, but at the same time it's a very fervent time as well, because there was always the hope of the next day or next week there's going to be something else, and so you're always sort of like on your toes and preparing. Yeah. The thing that really honestly separates the professionals from the non-professionals is that ability to take that rejection, that ability to go off on that 10, 20, 30 auditions and have nothing happen and not get discouraged. I can say that there were sometimes I was kind of bummed out, but I tried to make it not last for more than an hour or two.
And one last question before we talk about the movie. When you achieve fame, the first time you walked into a swarm of people wanting your autograph, how freaky for you?
Well, it was very slow going for me, because I was on television in 1980, and that is a brand of celebrity, but it's not like, very rarely are you in a limousine being, in which a mob of teenage girls are pounding on the window. That happens to some people. Never really yeah, exactly. Never really happened to me. I think it's really the first time you face a phalanx of photographers who only want a picture of you, and they're all shouting your name. You actually think, oh, all these people are here for me because they want my picture. And on one side, you're flattered, but on the other side, you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm just the new guy that's in town, and they're all shouting my name, so I will look in their camera and make their pictures a little more valuable.
Okay. Well, turning to the movie, I'm thinking people you want to be friends with on the set. The guys who drive the tanks, are those people you want to get on the good side of?
Well, you want to make sure that they know who you are so they don't kind of run over you, but they're always fixing their tank. You don't want their job. They're down inside there. It's not a pleasant place to be inside that tank.
Now, you've dealt with movies with explosives before and running past charges and that with Forrest Gump.
Oh,
Forrest Gump,
yes,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was confused for a second there. Really? Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay. Well, with this movie, how much anxiety on your part and some of the more complex action sequences?
Well, there's a definite hazard there that you have to be aware of, and you're going to trust the armorers and the stunt guys and the special effects guys. And they tell you, please don't step here because there's an air mortar underneath here that's going to send a guy flying. Be careful about this because there's this air ram here that's going to send a guy flying. We have our squibs lined up right here. Just so you know, behind you we have some mortars that are going off. And so you take note of what that is, because in all honesty, you could be somewhere. Now, they're very good about setting stuff off. But even so, there's sand and rocks and pebbles that are suddenly become projectiles, and you got to be careful of that. There's hot things flying through the air, and sometimes they literally land down the collar of your shirt, and you got to kind of you can't go, ow, I have a hot thing in my shirt. You got to incorporate it into the course of the movie. And so, yeah, I mean, you're a fool if you don't pay really strict attention to that. But at the same time, you can't, when the course of the movie is running, the camera's running, you can't let that hinder what it is that you're actually doing in the scene.
I've always been fascinated with extras. Now, a lot of the soldiers were actually guys in the Irish Army.
Yes, the Army of Ireland, yes.
Now, a little unnerving to see these guys in American uniforms talking with Irish brogues.
It's always kind of fascinating, you know. Hi guys, how you doing? You know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. I couldn't understand so many, you know, an awful lot of them. But you get your picture taken with them, you know, at the end of the day. So everybody has a good memory of making a movie together.
You know, this seems to be such a prestige project, not just because of you, but with Steven Spielberg. Do you notice a difference in the way that crew members act working with him as opposed to other directors?
Well, the people who have worked with Steven have worked with him before, so there's a lot of familiarity. In all honesty, on every movie, everybody is kind of working against a constant deadline with a constant fear of making a mistake. But I think with Steven, the way he shoots and the nature of the amount of expertise and artistry that goes into all the key people that he hires, there is this level of excellence to it that is really quite palpable in the nature of how much equipment is there, how organized it is, how well it is all coordinated in the course of getting to the set every day. And I mean, the set is built and there it is, and it's like absolutely first rate. It is, but I think that's because Steven knows the economics of movie making so well that he knows how to maximize the effect of every dollar. I can honestly say that nothing's wasted on one of Steven's movies. You don't get to a thing and just say, well, we're never going to use that in 100 million years. It's, believe me, if it's built, it gets used.
You know, there's a lot been said about the boot camp for the actors and how there was some rebellion. And I was curious, the fact that you stepped in and talked to everyone, do you find yourself taking more and more of a leadership role on the movies that you work on?
No, really, if everybody's cast in the movie, everybody has an equal level of respect from everybody else. We're part of a very select group. We're the guys who are in Saving Private Ryan or whatever movie that you're doing. And everybody has, you know, this great exchange of ideas, and it's always a free-form discussion that you're having, talking about what the movie is like and how you're going to do it and what you did yesterday. And it's always great. In that circumstance, it was very particular because I knew what it was like to be in boot camp because I had done it with Dale Dye on Forrest Gump, so this was no mystery to me. And when the time came that it became fractured and people felt like they were getting sick and they wanted to quit, it had to be a moment where I said, well, look, you guys we can't do this. We can't break off into, you know, two sections, the guys who went through boot camp and the guys who didn't. We have to stay together on this. If you can't finish it, then fall out for a while and then come back and join us when you can in the course of the day. But let's not all bust up here because this is the only rehearsal we're going to get. And we're making a big, big mistake if we think that we'll be able to fake this stuff that we're learning now when it comes time to make the movie.